Hi, I'm singer-songwriter Oscar Butler, and you are here on Oscar Butler Music on YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Songwriting Rules! So today I want to talk a bit about my process when it comes to songwriting. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to start off by deconstructing one of my songs. My last song, Drinking with the Boys. So the way I usually start off writing a song is with a little musical groove. Sometimes I come up with the lyrics first, or if I think of a line or two that I like first, I'll use that to work into the groove. But for this particular one, I just started with a little instrumental groove which went like this. So I just sat around and I played that for a bit. Trying to think what I wanted to write a song about. Now, something that I had in my mind, had written a few notes, had started a few pieces of songs, but I always wanted to kind of write something about making, working and making money, getting paid at the end of the week. So with that, I just kind of threw in, I started rumbling around with some different lines, but I came up with this. I work all week to earn my money. Okay, so that was the first line that I came up with, but now I'm thinking, well, where do I want to go with that line? Now, while I played around with that, several ideas for a storyline crossed my mind. One was just, making money, going out, partying, finding women, just having a great time. Something like that was bouncing around in my head. But what I settled on for was to, after working all week, coming home and then, for one, having to give it to my significant other or my honey is how I put it in the song. So I went here. Well, I work all week to earn my money, breaking my back just to give it all to my honey. And then I went with, what happens to it? What does she do with it? Well, it's a lot of relationships are, the woman, you work, and it's kind of like a cliche type of idea, but the man works, comes home, gives it all to his woman, to the woman, and she takes care of all the business stuff, the bills and stuff like that. So I went that direction. Well, I work all week to earn my money, breaking my back just to give it all to my honey. And when she pays the bills and buys the food, there ain't much left over for me to get one glass of booze. And that's where I went with that. I played around, didn't know what I was going to do, but the rhymes were working for me. I work all week to earn my money, and then honey, but then to buy the food, she pays the bills and buys the food. And then from there, I kind of looked at, well, what can I find that, number one, rhymes with food and will fit into a storyline that I'm going for. And booze worked good because, when you get paid at the end of the week, lots of people go out drinking, use their money to drink. But I can't because there's not enough left. So I'm now developing a particular storyline for my song, and it came just with experimenting, throwing ideas in, throwing lines in, trying to feel what's going to rhyme, what's going to fit together. one of the tools I use is Rhyme Zone online. It's a website where you put in a word and you can get lots of rhymes. So I kind of went there, which kind of established booze for me, which rhymed with food. Food, booze. I mean, when you're singing stuff, there's a lot of leeway. You get a lot of license to kind of do things with words the way they're expressed and pronounced. So that's a lot of times when I'm writing songs and I want rhymes, I see, well, what can I do with that? What can I do with that word and then another word that kind of sounds like it? Can I fit that in? And if it fits in, will it fit into the storyline? So that's what happened. That's how that came out. So again, it was, well, I work all week to earn my money, breaking my back just to give it all to my honey. And when she pays the bills, buys the food, there ain't much left over for me to get one glass of booze. Now what am I gonna do there? Okay, so from there the groove went. Okay, that was the original way it went, but it went. So now, what am I going to do with that? Where do I want to go with this story? So as I was, I started, and I just kind of went over that a few times, and I started, it's sad that I've been thinking how much I miss my drinking with the boys, because I don't have the money to go out to spend it with the boys. So now I just developed my storyline for this song, is that it's sad that I've been thinking how much I miss my drinking with the boys. And originally I just kind of went there and started into the next line, but I decided to lengthen it a little bit, because altogether it's fairly a short song. So I wanted to add a little bit more length to it. So I added some extra measures in there just to lead into the next verse. But so it went. Now I work all week to earn my money, breaking my back just to give it all to my honey. And when she pays the bills, buys the food, there ain't much left over for me to get one glass of booze. It's sad that I've been thinking how much I miss my drinking with the boys. So now we're gonna go back, we're gonna jump back. If you've watched some of my other videos, back to the one where I talked about starting with the ending. So now I have my beginning, I have the beginning of my song, and then the storyline, the basic storyline, but how do I want to end it? And that's the way I thought, that's how I went at this, is that, well, how do I want this to end? So where I decided to go is interesting. Now, I am not opposed to using ideas of other songwriters, because other songwriters come up with great ideas. One of the reasons some of their songs are great. And what came to mind was Bill Withers' song, Use Me, where he says, I'm reading it here, I want to spread the news that if it feels this good getting used, girl, you just keep on using me until you use me up. That idea really hit with me, because with this song, in the beginning, you know, I'm missing drinking with the boys. But now at the end of the song, what I want to do is say, well, you know, drinking with the boys is great, but being with my lady, being with my honey is so much better. And that's kind of, that was the ending that I came up with. So now I've got the beginning and the ending. Now I have to figure out the storyline between them. That's how that whole thing worked when I talked about starting with the ending. Okay, so now I've got that ending. That's where I want to go from this point in the beginning. So, let's see, where did I go from there? I work all week to earn my money, breaking my back just to give it all to my honey. And when she pays the bills, buys the food, there ain't much left over for me to get one glass of booze. It's sad that I've been thinking how much I miss my drinking with the boys. And this is the part I added in, just lengthened it. Now there once was a time, and so from this point, what I decided to do is talk a little bit about what my life was like a little before my honey came along. So you have to understand, you want to take this through a storyline, or at least that's what I want to do, is take this to a storyline that people can follow and get and understand the thinking pattern throughout the whole song. So the next part went, now there once was a time I was carefree. I could stay out in Bible all night till I could barely see. But now that's all over, things have changed. I have to plan for two if happiness be obtained. It's sad that I've been thinking how much I miss my drinking with the boys. So I took it and I said, well, there once was a time when I was carefree. I could stay out, imbibe all night until I could barely see. Party time, man, when you're single. But now that's all over. Things have changed. I have to plan for two if happiness be obtained. So you see my thinking through this, and I kind of think about it in a very cinematic way. When I try to explain it, I'm hoping that when I express these things, you get kind of a picture of what's happening. You've got, the old ball and chain is on. Now I got a plan for two. I can't just go out and play with the boys anymore because I got responsibility. So that's where the next section went on this. So now I liked my first two verses, so now I wanted to make a transition or a bridge. I throw a bridge in there to transition from what my thinking was as far as missing the boys to what my last verse is going to be, where it's like, I don't care how much you use me, if it feels this good getting used, use me up. So I wanted to transition from the thought in the beginning to that at the end with this bridge. And the bridge goes, now, all that time and all that booze, all the pretty women I never could choose. My boys had my wing, but there was always that one thing they could not do. That's why. Okay, so there, all that booze, all that time, all that booze, all the pretty women I never could choose. But the one thing that the boys couldn't do, and we know what that is, at least not for me, is, they couldn't supply that thing that thing that the honey could provide. That's where I wanted to go with that. So, all that time and all that booze, all the pretty women I never could choose. My boys had my wing, but there was always that one thing they could not do. That's why. And then, so I'm going into the next section now, where I'm now going to transition into not really liking drinking with the boys because being home with the honey is so much better. So, all that time and all that booze, all the pretty women I never could choose. My boys had my way, but there was always that one thing they could not do. That's so why I found a woman as pretty as can be. I rocked her world and she rocks me, and that's what makes it easy to say bye bye boys. You see, I have been rethinking, I really don't like my drinking. I could save some money and spend it on my honey. She is so fine, loving me up all the time. She don't need no toys, cause we'll be making lots of noise. She so enjoys that I don't miss drinking with the boys. No, I don't. I say she so enjoys that I don't miss drinking with the boys. I'll be home every night, baby, yes I will. Okay, so all that time, all that booze, all the pretty women I never could choose. The boys had my wing, but there was always that one thing they could not do. That's why I found a woman as pretty as can be. I rock her world and she rocks me. That's what makes it easy to say bye bye boys. You see the storyline in there? You want to keep it tight. You always want to keep it right on that storyline, and that way people will remember it. I mean, if you go scatter, if you fly all over into different tangents, you kind of lose people. But my thing is, when I write a song, I want to keep one storyline, make it very clear, very, very specific at where I'm going with it, so that hopefully people will remember it. It'll be easier for people to remember. Then I get into the last part that I've been rethinking how much that I don't really miss the drinking with the boys. And then I just go through a few things about, the benefits of not drinking, like saving money. I can spend it on my honey. She's so fine, she loves me up all the time. She don't need no toys because we'll be making lots of noise. And I did that for comedy relief. In there. And it's really neat because I get to kind of act that out on the stage and people get a laugh out of it. So in writing songs, so much of when I'm writing, I emphasize how I'm going to perform it. Like the Bye Bye Boys, that's part of how this song is written, is that I spend time in front of the mirror practicing that, so that people get entertained. I'm not just spewing lyrics and music out to them. I'm not just spewing music and lyric out to them, but I'm performing this song for them. And then it just goes into how much my honey enjoys that I don't miss drinking with the boys. So primarily that's the deconstruction of that song. Using some of the tips that I've talked about in previous videos, like especially the one about starting with the ending, because I figured out what my song was about. Now, how was I going to end it? And that's what makes it easy to get to that point, is when you have a finishing point, a point where you want to end up, then you know how to direct the story to finish with that end point. So that's pretty much it. That's the deconstruction of Drinking with the Boys. And remember, if you like what you're hearing, subscribe. Click on that little square button in the bottom right hand corner of my screen, so that you always will know when I am posting. So have a great evening, a great week, and I'll see you next week.